President-elect Donald Trump has chosen his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, as one of his senior White House advisors. The 35-year-old businessman played a central role in Trump's 2016 campaign. It said he will divest himself from several of his assets, but he will face scrutiny under federal anti-nepotism laws. Now, Jared Kushner married Trump's daughter, Ivanka, in 2009. He's the principal shareholder of Kushner Companies, a multi-billion-dollar real estate developer founded by his father. And he's also the publisher of the New York Observer, which he purchased in 2006. For more on this, let's go straight to David Smith. He joins us right now from Washington. David, thanks for your time. This is a fairly big deal. People are comparing it to Hillary's role in Bill's healthcare policy some time ago. But how has Trump's lawyers steered around this anti-nepotism law?
I'm afraid you cut out there. Could you just repeat that?
Sure. It's a fairly big deal, this posting here. How has Trump's lawyers steered around this anti-nepotism law?
Well, they're going to try and argue it on a technicality, I think, and say the White House does not quite count as a government agency in the way that a department would or one of the conventional agencies would. But whether they can get away with that is open to question, of course. As with a lot of the issues around Trump, it depends who you talk to. There are differing views on whether he is himself breaking laws regarding conflicts of interest because of his big business empire, and now with Jared Kushner, the anti-nepotism laws. But their overall approach seems to be, let's bulldoze this through, and who really is going to stop us? We've seen Kushner very influential so far.
People are comparing it to Hillary working on Bill's healthcare panel too. But just back on his conflict of interest, perhaps. I mean, Kushner's real estate, incredibly profitable. It relies on foreign investment too, earnings to which could be influenced very much so by Trump's administration, especially in terms of trade and the foreign relations policy. How would this conflict of interest be managed?
It's certainly very entangled. Jared Kushner, in his 20s, was making multi-million-dollar business deals. He has numerous investments. He's a publisher as well. But I think ultimately, the Kushner nepotism question will probably ultimately be secondary to Donald Trump himself. I mean, whatever goes for Kushner, we really have to scrutinize Trump's own business interests, which are even bigger and more extensive. And certainly there are ethics councils for the past presidents, Bush and others, who argue that that there is no way around this. That Donald Trump himself will be in breach of anti-nepotism and conflicts of interest rules. But the billion-dollar question is, how is that going to be enforced, or can Trump just continue to get away with it, including Kushner with his business interests?
I suppose in some ways it's not surprising, and we know that Kushner acted as an advisor and a gatekeeper to Trump. How much power is he likely to wield in this role?
I think he'll be very powerful if we just look at the presidential election campaign just gone. Trump cycled through various campaign managers. They were hired and they were fired, but the one constant there was his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, pulling a lot of strings and really, according to some sources, very influential in winning this election for Donald Trump. Very strategic, very clever at looking at the data. Some people said he ran it like a stealth internet company in Silicon Valley. Really did a lot of the calculations and pulled it off as a quiet man behind the scenes. And after all, he is married to Donald Trump's ear, personally and professionally.
No, we've got you. Sorry, we just lost you there for a moment, David. We'll leave it there for the time being. Thank you very much for that. David Smith from Washington there for us.